For Better Best Podcast here, I'm here with my lovely wife and co-founder of the Oxtail Loft. We're really excited. On Memorial Day Sunday, May 25th at Los Angeles, location the Beehive, we'll be launching our inaugural Oxtail Loft that's open to the public.
Yeah, so if you saw the pictures and videos from last year, so many people have said, I like Oxtail. Well, this is the time. Come out. Join us. We have so many amazing sponsors. It's going to be a beautiful celebration of culture and just the good food that comes out of the Caribbean. We have some great vendors coming out of LA.
And we're really excited to host you all, have you all experience a little taste of that Trinidadian culture that we talked about today, May 25th, the Oxtail Loft.
The link to buy tickets is in the show notes. So buy your tickets. We'll see you there.
Welcome to episode 22 of For Better Best Podcast. It's your boy, Charles Beloved, wearing some very fire frames. I forgot who they're by, but I'm here with my amazing, sensational, long hair don't care, blonde bone ring. I don't know if we introduced the blonde this season, the blonde moment, the era that we have been in, but these glasses, this fit, it's giving glam. It's giving kept woman, except you have to work, except for the fact that you have to work. Bridget, I'm just starting. And the host of this show, Mrs. Shireen Kirkendall.
I'm channeling my inner beloved with, so I have gotten back into frames.
Okay.
I wear glasses.
For life. You're blind. You're legally blind, yes.
Legally, that's a push. But I wear glasses 90% of the time. So when Charles wears like frames for flyness, I'm like, yes. I have frames on my face all the time. But then I got a pair and I really like with the transparent. I can't see, so I can't be in no club with no dark sunglasses. I already can't see as it is. This is already a lot for me. But I'm into the frames.
No, they're working. It's a vibe. It's an aesthetic.
So I'm trying to match your fly.
Absolutely. Doesn't she look beautiful, y'all? If you're listening, you could just hear the aura of the greatness of this woman. And I just want to give you some flowers because, like, you, outside of your just very beautiful looking and your robust.
Oh gosh.
Okay. Let me get back on track.
Focus.
You have been like in your corporate bag speaking. I know we spoke about Afrotech last year, but you hosted a panel at Afrotech and you were just asked to speak at this this conference. Is it GDC? Correct?
Game Developers Conference.
Game Developers. I was right. See a husband. Be a supportive husband. Know the details. GDC conference, a huge conference in gaming. She's moderating the panel, and so just getting into your bag. And somebody's honoring you. Black Men in Tech are honoring you for Women's History Month.
Booking info is in my bio.
So I'm just, listen. The goal early on was for me to be a stay-at-home dad. I don't know what she did to reverse the trend and the tide that she's like, I'm going to slave you for the rest of your life.
Stay-at-home dad is not my ministry. That's not in my...
But I just wanted to give you your flowers. Like, not only do you look good, you're working very hard and doing great things. And you're obviously a great mother, so...
And
congrats.
I think in me thinking about like my bingo card for 2025, I was like, I think doing the podcast has shown me that I enjoy asking questions. When we did the live podcast at Afrotech last November, Scotty Beam came up to me and was like, Shireen, you are a journalist. She was like, those questions were so good. And that's huge. One, she's a friend, right? So like to have your friend actually pour into you is huge, but then she is actually a journalist and she does this for work. So that was a huge compliment coming from her. So thank you so much, Scotty. I appreciate you. And I was like, and then I hosted the panel at Afrotech and I was like, I'm actually good at this.
Yeah, you are. You really are. So, and
I enjoy it.
I'm glad that me pushing you into this podcast arena has
somehow.
Don't make that sound.
This has become Charles complimenting himself.
Don't make that sound, y'all. I just wanted to make it clear. Like, me pushing you into this light, your light has shined even brighter.
Charles, we thank you for your service.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. I just wanted to, chime back in, the brains of Beloved.
Anyway, let's move on from the brains of Beloved.
I know we never talked about the live pod, so I just want to quickly say the live podcast was really dope. Yes. That was our second one we executed at the end of last year. It was fly. It was sexy. It was really well attended. We had bodies come out. It was like full capacity.
Yes. Shout out to our guests.
Yeah.
We had Hope, who she has
our sister Hope Wiseman. Yes. She has a cannabis company.
Business in the DC area.
Mary Main, yep.
And then we had two of our good friends.
Yep.
And they're also on a marriage journey, Justin and Danny, and they kind of shared more about their life, their relationship, trials that they've had.
It was phenomenal. So well done. Jim Beam sponsor, and then obviously GLD. So we step into our sponsorship bag. You know, listen, if y'all want to keep listening, y'all find sponsorship partners to help finance this.
Call us.
Because Orlando is sending an invoice every time I'm here, y'all.
He's a great engineer. He does his thing. He puts together phenomenal clips, but he does not work for free. So feel free, if you have sponsorship opportunities, pitch them to us.
Let us know. But yes, episode 22 for Better Best Podcast. We've been doing this for a while.
Yes.
And we still have stuff to talk about. Everybody's like, where's the guest? Where's the guest? I hope you're not asking that, because Charles came into the season with more things to discuss.
Well, we had an argument last season, because last season Charles,
I wanted all guests.
He wanted all guests.
I wanted all guests.
And I said, respectfully, I have things to talk about that don't include other people.
Yeah.
And I felt like we got the best reception from the non-guest episodes.
Yeah, people really like to just hear you and me banter, which is crazy.
And Charles's brother, who is also, he is type A critical.
Very critical.
Like his little brother.
Very critical.
He was like, so when y'all stopping all these guest episodes? Because they're cool and all, but I would like to hear from you too.
So we're giving the people what they want. We starting out with just a few solo episodes to just advise and remind you guys of all the things that we have going on.
And how great we are and why you listen to this podcast. So last year we talked about like a really sensitive topic, and that was having another baby.
Yes.
And I thought that this would go differently for this podcast season. I thought I would be pregnant and we would be revealing our baby to the... Spoiler alert, there is no baby. I am not pregnant. I had cocktails at Afrotech. Oh, actually, I didn't have cocktails at Afrotech because I thought I was...
Yeah,
yes, I thought I was pregnant.
Yes.
And sadly, I wasn't. So last year we talked about wanting a baby, and everyone was like, y'all should do IVF. Y'all... In all the comments, we were doing IVF.
At the time.
The time. And if you ever, I will say, as someone who has had 2 children naturally, it was hard. And anyone who has gone through IVF, my heart is with you, because I did it and everyone was like, is Charles helping you? And I was like, absolutely not. He is not helping me.
Whoa, slow down there.
Not because...
Clear it up. Clear it up. Bridget, do you see how this starts? Do you see how I end up getting killed on the internet?
He's not...
Like, this is a nice emotional moment. She's like, Charles ain't doing shit. Like, that's all I heard, Orlando.
I mean...
Can you clean it up?
To the women who've done IVF, you did it all, sis. No, but it was... There's so much precision to it. You have to... You have to give these shots. Charles barely liked to give himself his Ozempic shot.
Y'all know we talked about me with the needles.
He made me do it. So, and I just needed a level of control, because I was like, if I'm doing this and I'm in control of this process, while I trust my husband, I love my husband, I'm like, I want to administer the shots. You have to mix medications. I was in there like a chemistry major. So I'm micing meds, and you have to do it within a certain time frame. There was just so much science to it, and I was like, while I love Charles, the micromanager in me came out. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want your help. I don't need your involvement. So at the first shot, he just stood there and stared at me. I said, you could just go. I don't actually don't need you here just looking at me.
Yeah, I was really like taken aback with that. It was like, yo, you have to set an alarm because you got to know and prep. Like, and I think you had me help mix some stuff one day, because maybe you had to come in and immediately.
It was the first time, and I was like,
floored. I was like, this is crazy. So the level of empathy that we have for people that have to go through this process, I'm like, I was literally taken aback, and then obviously, to a guy's point and perspective, we really don't have to do anything. I was slightly offended when you said that, but that is the actual fact of the matter, and this is a want that I have so much. And I just had to watch you do all of that, and then at the end, for it not to have worked out, like, I was like, oh my God. And the thought of you having to go and do that all over again, I was like, oh my.
So we did all the shots. There was actually at one point Charles had tickets to a comedy show. We saw somebody's comedy special. And
was Kevin Hart?
No. It was Hollywood with SOS and
okay.
But yeah, we went to a comedy show, and it was during the time of the shots. Like, you have to take the shots within this window. Yeah. So I'm like, do we go? Do we not go? Where are we going to park? I got the needles. The medication got to be on ice. So I packed my big purse. I put ice packs in there. Y'all, I have straight up syringes in my bag. And I text my homegirl. I'm like, are they checking purses as you go in? Because I got needles. And she's like, no. They're doing a light check. So I had everything wrapped up so you couldn't really see it. And we're at the comedy show we were at. They were like, no phones, no filming, and
it was Dave Chappelle. I'm trying to remember who it was.
I forget who it was, but they're like, please don't get up. And I'm looking at, so he's cracking jokes, but I'm kind of laughing, but looking at the time, I'm like, because now we get into the end of the window, and I'm like, I don't want to get too close to the end because that's not the usual time I take. I'm like having internal debates with myself, and finally there's a pause. People are laughing. I'm like, I'm gonna go. So I like run out of there, and let me tell you how God works, because I was so concerned about this bathroom. I get in there and there's a whole ledge in the bathroom, and I was able to set up all my needles. I had to mix medications. I lined everything with paper, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so easy. I thought I was going to have to manage needles in my lap on the toilet.
Did anybody come in the bathroom at this moment?
No one. I made sure the door was locked because I said I don't want anyone.
This looks like a heroin. I'm sorry. I was like snowfall. I just imagine the shit laid out and you out here trying to shoot yourself up.
I thought that to myself. I said, Lord, don't let nobody bust in this bathroom and see all these needles laid out. So I laid, and I was able to do all my shots, and I finished as the show was wrapping up. They were like, we're outside. I'm like, I'm coming on up, guys. But it was just that level of diligence. Like, I'm like, either we gotta skip the show or I have to figure out how I give myself this medication. We went through the whole process. We did an egg retrieval, and Charles had the week of the egg retrieval. Charles happened to have travel for work.
Yes.
And I said, Lord, just don't let the retrieval fall on the day he has to fly out. Yep. My doctor called. She said, so we wanted the retrieval on this date. It's the date Charles is leaving. I'm like, Doc,
literally.
Does it matter if we like push it back one day? Because Charles will be back by then.
And it mattered.
And she was like, if we had to choose between this day or the next day, she's like, I think we'll be fine to do the next day. So I had to drop off the kids, drive myself to the egg. It was so much. And then he just Ubered and met me. I said, my husband's coming. I'll be under, but he's going to walk in. He's picking me up. So we did it, and ultimately we got 4 girls and we got 4 boys, which also lets me know that if we had done this naturally, there was still a 50-50 chance we would have gotten another boy.
Oh yeah, I know what happens when I'm involved. So I think I'm very well aware. But even with like the egg retrieval, like when I came and picked you up, like you were so weak, you were like barely moving. I'm like, bro, this is a lot. Like I have just been sitting watching you go through this process of fulfilling my hopes and dreams of having a daughter. And I'm just like, at every step of the way, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, I got to ask myself, and I've never asked myself, like, if the roles were reversed, would I do what I saw you do?
Would you?
Hell no. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not built like that. Well, I'm not built for it tough. I'm going to be honest with you.
Look at Bridget's
I'm going to be
face.
honest with you. Well, Bridget, why would you make that? I'm being honest. As a man, I'm being honest. Y'all are so much stronger than us.
You know what?
Because it is, this was a crazy process, and that's why I'm just like, so grateful, and which is why we're in the situation that we're currently in. You
know what they say about mental or terminal illness? They're like, when men fall terminally ill, their wives support them through, pause their lives. When women turn terminally ill, you
go find another joint.
Y'all be having girlfriends.
Go find another joint. I would still help. I would still. See, you digress.
It was
chill.
It was some star that his wife was terminally ill. He had his girlfriend living in the house with him.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Nasty work. But no, I mean, I'm just if I'm being honest, I can't minimize what you were going through. Like that is just like, it was a crazy process from the retrieval to the actual, implantation and the shots. Like it was wild.
So I had a timeline for my baby. And it was tied.
Here comes the vanity. No. Come on.
It was not vanity.
Girl, you look good. Talk about it. I see the Gucci belt. I see the Gucci shoes.
It was tied to birthdays. I did not want a past school date birthday, and you thought I was nuts.
Oh yeah, that and the
yes, and the little vanity. But I didn't want it. I didn't want to have a baby past August because that's the school cutoff. If you have a late birthday, you already know how that goes. You end up a year older. So I was like, I would really love to have like a late July, early August baby.
Planning birthdays, y'all. It's crazy.
Listen, if you can plan it, why not plan it? So our doctor gets it down to like, okay, so this is the date. Science is nuts. This is the date we should implant the baby. So it was, again, see how God works. I had a bachelorette trip, And then Afrotech was right after. I was coming home for like a day and a half. And the doctor was like, so I think we should do the implantation that Monday. The day and a half I was home.
In between trips.
And Charles was already gone. He was already at Afrotech. I walk into the doctor. Mind you, our doctor has never actually met Charles in real life because
I'm always on the road.
Yes. Every time I've gone to that office, he's not been there. So
I see you on the video.
Oh, yeah,
That's
on
my
Zooms.
girl. That's my girl.
So I walk in. She's like, you're by yourself? Where's Charles? I'm like, girl, we got the conference. She said, oh, you told me about the conference. I'm like, yes. So we do it. And I looked at them. She had the lady come from the lab with there's a little test tube it's a microscopic baby, y'all. And I said, please just make sure that's me and my husband's baby. Don't put nobody. Just make sure you're not putting nobody else's baby in me. She's like, no, we know how it works.
Right,
it's definitely
right.
your embryo. I'm like, just make sure. I'm not trying to give birth to somebody else's baby in 9 months. We do it. She puts in the baby. It's honestly very painless. I was like awake for all of it. Easy peasy. And then I headed to Afrotech. I'm heading into Afrotech. I could be pregnant. I could not be pregnant. So I'm not drinking. I'm just kind of keeping it low. If you've ever been to Afrotech, it's a little bit of a party atmosphere. Everyone's like, let's do shots. I'm like, let's not. But honestly, I felt pregnant.
Yeah, the symptoms were there. You were sleepy. You were like, I don't feel like going out, and I'm just like, everybody, where's Shireen? I'm like, oh, she tired.
I will say that
she worked.
I usually hit all the parties, and I was just like, bro, I can't do it. My body feels exhausted, and I've been pregnant twice, and that first trimester tiredness is absolutely real. Yeah. So it's like 10 days after they implant that you take a pregnancy test. It's very fast. Yeah. I knew at Afrotech, and I was like, yo, let me buy a pregnancy test. And Charles said no.
I was like, no.
Annoying.
Because I want to stick to the plan. I want to know at the time in which the doctor says to check. She always be trying to do her own thing. Yes. This strong-willed Bronx New Yorker, just coming up with her own rules and mechanisms. I like to stick to the script.
I told him, I said, I'm going to respect that, but I want you to know if I had a pregnancy test in this house, I would have taken it already. If it was accessible to me, I won't go buy one. But if we had one in the house, I would take it. And I went to the doctor. They do it via blood test. And I walk in. She's like, "How do you feel?" I'm like, "Girl, I feel pregnant." She calls me that afternoon, and she's like, "Shireen, your HCG, which is the pregnancy hormone." She's like, "Your HCG levels are up, so it's looking like we're pregnant." So
we scream, we hug, we cry,
like,
all the fun. Yeah.
We call our parents. She's like, that was a Thursday. She's like, come back on Saturday morning so that we can do some blood work again because I want to check your levels to make sure they're still going up. And then that Saturday we were taking our holiday photos and we were in the car and she texts me and she's like, Shireen, do you have a minute to talk? Can I call you? And I looked at Charles. I said, that don't sound good.
Yeah, because she's a very upbeat person and the directness had me very, very, very on edge.
So I text her. I'm like, hey, yep, we're in the car. You can give us a call. And she comes on and she's sounding all somber and sad. And she's like, so yeah, your HCG levels, like realistically from Thursday to today, they should have doubled. And she's like, and they're actually going down. So she's like, it's looking like the pregnancy didn't take. And how did you feel? I guess I never even, because we were like in go mode, like we were on our way to our holiday photo shoot. Yeah. So there was no time to process feelings.
It was a couple different emotions. I was sad. I was genuinely sad because you can't have that level of a high followed by that level of like disappointment. It was just like, so I was sad. I was also somewhat, I don't want to say prepared because we have another friend that had gone through it and the first one did not take. So I was already like, I don't want to say immune, but I was like, okay, this might be a multi-cyclical type of thing. Yep. But you've just always consistently been so easy to, you know what I mean? It's never been a thing. So I was like, oh, okay, like it could happen again. But the level of sadness was less about the fact that the baby wasn't coming, but more about the fact that I was going to have to make you do all of that stuff again. And so I didn't know, and again, I'm a novice, if you had to go all the way back through the egg retrieval stuff into the thing. So I was just like, you got to do all of that again. But then I realized it was just more along the lines just of like the last step things again. So that eased some of my tension. I was like, okay. And you asked like, do you want to double back the next month? And I said, yeah, let's spin the block. Let's get right back to it. But I was definitely really sad and disappointed in the moment.
And the issue of it is like really timing, because like that happened in November. We would have gone right back in December, but we weren't home. We were traveling for the holidays, so it was like there's so much nuance to it where we would have just been like, let's go, and it was like just life is in the way at this point.
Yeah.
So we went to double back in February, and I was preparing my body. I wasn't drinking. They put me on the medication to make me not ovulate. And I knew, because we had done it before, I was like, I kind of know the timing of it. And I'm like, I know when the implantation around when it should be. And I went and got my blood work, and the doctor called me that afternoon, and I missed the call. And then her team messaged me and was like, hey, she wants to schedule a call with you. It was like 4 days later.
Yeah.
And I was like, 4 days?
Because you would have needed to be implanted.
I was like, the implant. Charles was like, oh, okay, well, maybe she's pushing the implantation back. I said, baby, that's not how it works.
Yeah, I was trying to be optimistic. I was trying to be
optimistic.
optimistic.
Like, okay, well, maybe she just wants to do it later. I said, no. There's no do it later. I said, it should be happening like in the next day and a half.
Yeah.
And I said, the fact that she wants to push this call out that far means it's not happening this month.
Yeah.
And essentially she's like, the drugs I was on, they should have stopped something, but they didn't stop that thing. So she's like, your body is not prepared to, and we only have 3 girl embryos left. So she's like, I just want to make sure we're putting that embryo into the best possible, healthiest environment. And she's like, and that's just not where we are right now. And for me, it was sobering, because I'm like, I thought it would be easy. Like, I thought with the help of science, it would be so easy to get pregnant. We've gotten pregnant naturally. Of course we can do it with science. And it showed me that, like, it's actually been harder for us to get pregnant this way than just doing it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, like, I was starting to do the math. Last episode we talked about we're doing our 10-year. That will be July 2026. And realistically, even outside of vanity, I was like, I don't want no newborn baby at our 10-year. Like, I want to be able to like enjoy my time with my friends. Like, our kids, like CJ and Carter, will be older, like, and they can be self-managed. I'm like, to have like a newborn baby, leaky boobs, having to pump, having to nurse, like, yes, our moms can watch the baby one night, but then the baby's gonna want to be with us. Like, I was like, this just feels like a lot. And I was like, I did the math. I said, this will put us at having like a December baby. I'm like, do we want to do this with a 6-month-old? Like, we have a lot going on in our life right now.
Yeah. And it was compounded with like a lot of life things that's happening this year, jobs, work, and so we had to have a very honest conversation with each other.
And I said, I said to Charles, I said, hey, we're going to try again in March, but after we try again in March, like, we have to stop for a minute. And baby, when I tell you this man snapped, what do you mean we have to stop? I said, why would you say you're going to make a unilateral decision?
An individual decision without a conversation.
I said,
and that's not a marriage, in my opinion. That's a dictatorship, and I didn't sign up for that.
Well, I've been dictated to a few times in the past, so this is my turn.
I don't recall. I plead the fifth, but hearing it maybe the other dictatorial way, it wasn't something that was going to wrestle with me. We needed to talk about it.
You had such an adverse reaction. I couldn't even get it out. I'm like, let's put a pause on it for now. Like, I just don't think timing wise this will make sense anymore. And I was just so you know how when you say something to your partner, you like, I know this is about to piss them off. I was so taken aback by his response and how he snapped at me. I was like, I wasn't even trying to piss you off. Like, I didn't even think this was going to elicit this kind of response. So I'm like,
yes, something of this magnitude, in my humble opinion, is a group decision. And don't get me wrong, it is your body, your blood. I plead listen, I don't want to get slammed in YouTube comments. Your body, your choice. But a conversation was warranted in that moment if we were going to stop, continue. And I'm fair. And as you all hear, I have a lot of empathy to the process. She didn't even give me a chance. A lot of these conversations that we talked about happened after that point. So it wasn't a lot of pre-communication. Like, how do you feel? I would have said, like, I don't want you to have to keep putting yourself through this.
Well, I was coming at it like, and you know what? Maybe that was on me. Maybe I did not tell you my thought process. I gave you the end results.
Yes.
As opposed
you didn't walk me
taking you along the ride with me. Like, hey, here's what I'm thinking, and this is kind of where I'm landing. How do you feel about it? So maybe that was feedback for me, knowing that it was such a sensitive topic for you and something that you really want. But for me, so just like I said, I was like, I'm thinking like 6 months from now, Charles still gonna be raging at the pool when I'm like, oh guys, I gotta go back and pump. Like, oh guys, I can't drink as much as I want to because the baby's here, so I gotta pump and dump. And I'm like, I just don't want to have to think about all of that. Yeah. Also, my thing, but the reason why I wanted the timeline now is y'all know, outside of getting liposuction, which is on my that's on my bingo card. We'll take you along for that ride when I started. Outside of the vanity portion and wanting liposuction, after our 10-year, I turned 39 shortly after that. And anything after 35 is called a geriatric pregnancy. And I missed geriatric with Carter by literally 19 days because he was born August 5th. I turned 35 on August 24th. But as I think about it, like, it took us, we've had so much trouble getting pregnant, and I'm younger. I will be a year and a half older. What does my body look like as the vessel for this baby? Like, is it going to be harder because I'll be older? My bones was already creaky these first two go arounds. How creaky am I going to be? So Charles is open to other options. You could talk about what options you're.
After there was an actual conversation that took place.
Oh gosh.
We came to terms with a mutually beneficial agreement that, you know, I just hope in other marriages, relationships, that you can resolve issues through conversation the way that we did. And the irony is, with the first implantation for Shireen's ridiculous timeline of being able to plan birthdays and things, I personally did not want another Leo. I didn't want another Leo. Let's just start with the month. The Leos out there. I have a Leo as a son.
He's a strong.
I'm okay with never having another Leo. So she was trying to add another Carter to the mix. I only need one Carter in my life, and I love my son. But that's it. I was fine with a little boy Virgo a little bit later in the year. So that's number one. But second of all, even before we got to the specificity of, you know, months, I did not want a child until later in life anyway. I am in go mode. It does not bring any joy. I know you think it's not going to slow down, but it doesn't bring any joy to my life, missing the appointments and all of that. And while I wanted a child, I'm like, I knew that there was not going to be opportunity for me to be in my slow down era. I see slow down like on the horizon, believe it or not. I'm making tangible life changes to be able to be like, hey, this is what's more important to me. This is what I want to prioritize. And I just see a path for that. You know, I'm not as old as Shireen as everyone knows.
Oh, wow.
So I'm, you know, my 40s era is on the horizon.
It's a year later than my 40s era.
And so when I get there, like, that's when I wanted to bring another child into this matrix of family and love and fun that we're having. So when she introduced the fact that we can wait until that 39, 40 year to do it, I was like, thank God, because that was when I wanted another child. When Carter's completely independent, CJ literally is a third parent. CJ acts like Carter's dad.
He be trying to parent
50
Carter the
to
best
60% of the, and I'm like, you go, boy. We got to tag team this one.
Yo, shout out to the plight of the oldest, because CJ be trying his best.
CJ, this is not the way our parents want things. Like, he knows the deal, and Carter does whatever. So, be that as it may, I'm just like, I was actually happy with her agreeance to the later timeline. But to be fair,
agreeance is a push. Okay.
Circumstantial agreeance to the timeline. But to be fair, I did not want to overdo it, and so I said, "Hey, let's try one more time at that timeline after the 10-year. If it does not work, I'm willing and ready to let it go or try alternative methods."
So that's a good point, because our 10-year is July 8th. So we're going to have it sometime like around that weekend.
Yep.
So let's say August, we hit the ground running. Doctor's like, August, your body looks good. Let's do it. We have 3 girl embryos. So you're saying that you'll only try one more time. You won't use up all 3.
I'm saying I'm willing to do whatever you're comfortable doing, honestly.
I'm comfortable using all three.
Oh, okay. So we really shooting our shot then.
If all three don't I'm like, Charles, you had 4 chances and God said no every single time. You got to take your L.
Okay. That's even better than I thought, because I was fine just doing one more. And if it did not work, then we would look at adoption or a surrogate.
We would look at adoption.
Or a surrogate. Shireen just does not want to pay these amazing people for their service because she wants to buy Chanel bags.
Yes,
and not give me,
and I want to pay for liposuction.
Not give me my daughter.
Surrogates are the most selfless women.
Yes, I just saw it on Real Housewives of Atlanta this past week.
It's like to give the gift of a child to someone.
And worth every penny.
Someone you don't know. It is so selfless. I don't want to pay for it, though. It is not in my budget. Because when I think about how you got to buy them new clothes, I'm sure you got to give some kind of tuition. Charles, not tuition at all, a stipend. Charles has all these rules.
We talked about them. They know they got to live with me.
How is a surrogate living with us?
I'm not going down that road again.
But I don't want to pay for a surrogate. So I'm like, let's adopt a nice child.
I would be so pro-adoption if this one does not work out.
Which is crazy because when we met, I was open to adoption and Charles was anti-adoption. You literally were like, I don't want no kid I don't know in my house.
Yeah. Well, a child I don't know is crazy. I never said, you see how she'll just take your words and manipulate them in a way that the internet will then come for me. I never said that. I just did not know that I could love someone that did not come from me in the same way that something that came out of my loins. But now having two...
Came out of my loins? How did we get here? Okay.
No, just being honest, but having birthed or participated in the birthing of 2 children, I know for a fact I could love somebody with that same type of love. And so for me, with the amazing union that we have created in the space that we have, that is an option for me after we exhaust all of this stuff. But it has been a journey. I appreciate all of your efforts. I wish we were coming on here with our big announcement. We literally were planning a pod. As soon as you're pregnant, it's going to be a big announcement episode.
We're gonna y'all know we got a rollout. We were going to do a rollout.
Yeah, it's going to be a dope rollout. A lot of views. There's going to be a lot of views. Whenever that day comes, it's going to be a big viewed episode, but we just not there yet.
Yeah, so just pray for us. I'm truly like, whatever God's will for our life is what it is. And I didn't want my kids to all be 5 years apart, but that's how it's looking like they're going to be. And yeah, I hope you get whatever desires of your heart, and I hope I get whatever desires of my heart. Liposuction. And maybe season 4 will be rolling out. We'll have the rollout of our daughter.
Episode 22 for Better Best Podcast.